All right, quiet on set, quiet on set.
All right, welcome back. It is the RTFL Show, week 13. We've made it to the end of the season, show number 11. I'm your host, Michael, here as always with Brother John. Brother John, what's going on?
Oh, not much. I mean, God, we made it to week 13. Week 12, I felt like went on for, I guess, almost a whole week. That was an impressively long stretch of a single week in the NFL.
It was probably the only time in the history of the NFL we'll see who knows going forward what will happen, but probably the only time we'll see a Wednesday game.
Yeah, and I mean, it was not much of a game, but it was
not.
It was
Yeah, I'll be honest. I didn't watch much of it. I was far too depressed about how the week before had gone to get into it. So, and that one wasn't really something I felt like investing my time in.
No, it started at 12:40 out here, so
Oh
right
shit!
Smack dab in the middle of the workday. So
yeah, I didn't even think about that. I had it on as I was working from home and took a couple glances, but
Yeah. Did you hear why they made it so early?
No. Did they say why?
Because I think it was on NBC, right? Because they didn't want to push the tree lighting ceremony, so they made them play it earlier.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So,
I thought it was going to be because they didn't want to move, like, I don't know, whatever the Good Doctor or one of those Chicago PD, Chicago.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know what fucking channel those things are on anymore. Who watches network? Who watches network television these days?
That's what I asked Meredith last. And she's like, "Do you guys see this tree lighting ceremony?"
I know. Our sister, a big fan of network television, apparently. Let's get into it here. We got a big announcement. So in honor of the close of the first regular season of the RTFL, and in honor of the first playoffs coming up for the RTFL, a playoffs that likely neither of us will be participating in, unfortunately, we are going to host a live show next week. Live streaming. Looking for some guests to come on. It's going to be an open situation. We'll send out the link. You can feel free to jump on, but we will be streaming live on YouTube for that recording. And we got some special, we got some special things. Why don't you give them a little rundown of what we might be doing?
Well, we'll be looking back at the regular season, handing out some awards. Best performances, worst performances, funny moments in the group chat, things like that. We'll be handing out awards. And so as you come on, it'd be great to introduce those with you if you are going to win one. And then come on and trash talk your opponent. Call them out. Yeah, on the gauntlet. It's week one of the playoffs. So
yeah, we will have playoff matchups to discuss at length. So very exciting. We're gonna do a 1-hour live show. We will send out a poll as to when you guys might want to see this. We're thinking either Wednesday or Friday next week. But we'll cover that in the group chat or via email. So look forward to that. Looking forward to that. What I'm not looking forward to is the next thing we have in our rundown, which is going back over the previous week. I guess we have to cover it. I am here wearing my Northside College Prep Mustangs jersey. That is my high school soccer team's jersey. Yeah, I'm wearing this jersey in honor of the fact that it's one of the worst teams that I've ever been a part of sports at any level. My junior year, we did not win a game. But in terms of the most disappointing teams, I think this Decatur Staley's actually is up there as well. Super frustrating team. So we're going to go into that for a second, and then we'll hit Steve's big matchup. But a big letdown on my end.
Yeah, I would say so. It was big implications. You win. You're vying for the division title. You'd have to win this week, obviously. But, it's a big matchup. You would have put yourself in a position to win the division and secure a playoff spot. that didn't happen. So let's take a look at that. Did you freeze on me?
That he was not frozen in the recording. Are you there? You're there. Okay.
Yeah, I'm there now. I don't know whether you froze, but I continue to talk just in case you were the one frozen.
I was doing the same thing, so people may not have understood anything what we were just saying.
Yeah.
Well, what I was going to say is just that it was a huge disappointment from the get-go. 2 points from Zeke on Thanksgiving Day was a fucking gut-wrenching thing to watch as we were preparing a turkey. But really, the thing that killed me was I actually thought long and hard about who I was going to play at that second running back slot. And I did look at playing Murray. Just because I thought it was going to be a blowout and the Saints might take Kamara out. And guess what? It was a fucking blowout. And
You're exactly right.
Murray got a ton of touches, but in the end, I thought roll with the guy that is going to start. And I don't even know what I was thinking there because, of course, he wasn't going to actually make any plays. They didn't have a fucking quarterback to throw the football. So
I'm sure they just stacked the box and stuff the run every time. Yeah, for sure. And New Orleans' run defense is very good. So
yeah. It was a horrible decision and one that I regret. I will go to bed thinking about. And Latavius Murray would have won me that game. So we can move on. It was really not even a great performance by Bill's team. Outside of Jarvis Landry, his team pretty much sucked as well. So
yeah, he's going up against Alpha Peter this week, and while he's already secured a playoff spot, it's going to be tough sledding there. So.
All right. Well, we can move on from my disgrace of a fantasy football team and honor one that was not a disgrace. The Barracudas. Holy shit. Almost broke the 200-point mark.
Yes. Wild. Incredible,
that was nuts.
Actually.
What makes it even more nuts is that he doesn't have Tyreek Hill. So, if a team is going to break the 200-point mark this week, I would have guessed they would have had Tyreek Hill on their roster. The dude put up an ungodly number of points, 50 points. But he didn't have him. Instead, he just got steady gains from everybody in his starting lineup, pretty much.
Well, I mean, the stack of Deshaun Watson and the now suspended Will Fuller.
Yeah, that's a real. We'll cover that.
Was an incredible. Incredible stack. Gibson had a hell of a day with 3 touchdowns. And then James Robinson, who, I saw some stat that, he's had some, I don't remember how many rushes or how many touches he's had. But the rest of the Jacksonville running backs combined have had 7 touches on the season.
Yeah. I mean,
7.
I only heard one guy in the preseason. I can't remember who it was. Somebody on the Athletic fantasy football show who brought up James Robinson's name as a guy that they were really keying into this year, who they thought was going to win that job. And James Robinson was somebody I targeted coming into the draft, but I don't think anybody had an idea that he was going to win the job to this extent. It's his.
He was undrafted, right? In the NFL. So I don't think any NFL scout or team had any idea that he was going to be this good.
Yeah, so. It's crazy. So congrats to Steve.
Just real quick on that. I mean, on the 196, we have one more week of games for people to break that 200-point mark, but I was just looking back real quick, and Blue Barracudas put up 196 this week, and then in week 7 they put up 166 points for the 4th highest points total on the season. The Alpha Peter put up 181 week 2, and in week 6 he put up 167 So those were the second and third highest point totals. And then to round out the top 5, absolute fiasco put up 160 in week 4.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, some huge scoring there. And then we had a number of other teams score in the 140s, which isn't as impressive, but
which I don't think either of our teams ever got to.
I think I got to 139 right there.
You did. Week 4 over me, 139.
Yeah. Well, that was the week that I think Bill was chirping me to get over 100 in the chat. And so
I got you. Okay. All right. Well, let's move on. We don't have a whole lot of news and notes. It's been a crazy week in the NFL. Next week, the Baltimore-Dallas game has moved to Tuesday next week, and Pittsburgh-Washington has moved to Monday. Things are moving all over the place. So
yeah, it's gonna be another long week. It's amazing that they moved. It sounds like they moved the Baltimore game to Tuesday just to give Lamar a chance to come back.
Yeah, definitely.
And
didn't feel the same way about Drew Lock apparently, but
no, Denver just got shafted there, having to play a practice squad wide receiver.
Yep.
I do not understand what the NFL is doing in this situation. It is very frustrating that they, are just deciding which teams are, they've deemed worthy to ensure a competitive game.
Yep. It's but it's very NFL, like that. I wouldn't expect anything less from them.
Ruling with an iron fist,
Indeed. Let's jump ahead. We got to preview a couple matchups in the upcoming week. Real quick, there is one matchup. There's a very important key matchup that's going to happen, but there's another matchup that could decide the division crown. That would be the Thoughts and Prayers football and stuff matchup. A matchup that I believe if Charlie wins, Charlie would football and stuff. Charlie would take the division, having the tiebreaker over Ken. Should Ken win that matchup, Thoughts and Prayers, Ken will win the division on points by a large margin. So that's an interesting one to watch. Do you have a, do you have an outcome you're expecting here?
Yes, I do. I mean, I think Thoughts and Prayers, just their overall lineup, in each position, it goes well past what Charlie's able to put together. Looking at their tight end position, looking at Nyheim Hines, Sterling Shepard, who's questionable, and Daniel Jones might not even play. So it's just downgrading Shepard there, and just looking at Charlie's bench, he's not really plugging in anyone else. Frank Gore, does he still have? Yeah, he still has Frank Gore, who might be worth a flex spot there. But
I mean,
the depth of Ken's team is just too great in my opinion.
I agree. Charlie's starting. His wide receiver 2 is the third best wide receiver, I think, on the Giants. His running back 2 is, I guess, maybe the second best running back, at times the third best running back on the Colts. Depends what week it is. So I don't see any reason why Ken loses this game. Thoughts and Prayers should take it away, provided everybody plays. And I think it's expected. I haven't seen anything that suggests that Calvin Ridley or Josh Jacobs wouldn't play. So
no, I mean Josh Jacobs has been banged up, throughout the season, but it's unlikely that he won't play. But even if he doesn't, it does seem, from every indication, that David Johnson is on track to play this week. So if Ken could take him out of his IR spot and have a pretty solid running back to plug in there, especially with Will Fuller now being out. Those targets have to go somewhere, and they generally will go to your running back or your tight end. Brandon Cooks is not going to get all those targets, so
for sure.
Or Kiki Kuti or whoever. Coutier.
Well, yeah, Kiki Cutie. Let's move on. I think Ken takes that one away. But the big matchup of the week, the premier matchup, is Brendan El Bambolero versus Absolute Fiasco Fitz versus Kelly. This matchup will decide who gets not just this matchup, but it could just be this matchup that decides who gets the last spot in the playoffs. If Fitz wins, he is in. This is this is the situation you want to find yourself in. If if you're the Bomboleros, you win, you're in.
Yep. Yeah.
Everybody else, and that includes Kelly, myself, and believe it or not myself, but also believe it or not, the Average Peters. Should the Average Peters win and Kelly wins and I win, the Average Peters will make the playoffs. Is that correct? Because I think it is.
I thought then, hold on real quick. Let's see, Absolute Fiasco.
The Average Peters.
She beat the Average Peters. So.
Oh yes, sorry.
So it would be a four-way tie with you having beaten Brendan, right?
Yep.
Kelly having beaten Peter Sullivan. Peter Sullivan having beaten you.
Yes.
And then Brendan having beaten you.
Yeah.
So everyone has beaten someone in that four-way tie, so there's no clear head-to-head winner. And everyone's lost to someone. So
you're correct.
It would go to point total, which then
Kelly would be in. And
more than likely, I mean, you'd have to score like 200 points or more.
Yeah, and actually, I don't think then that maybe there is a way for the Average Peters to get in.
If you lost,
what's that?
If you lost,
if I lost Kelly and Kelly wins, Kelly still has the tiebreaker over the Average Peters.
That's right,
and over the Bomboleros at that point, which would make it difficult. I'm not sure there's a way for him to get in. So essentially what it comes down to, I think, is if Kelly wins, she's probably in.
Unless you win too.
There is a world in which if I win and Kelly wins, I would get in over Kelly, having held the tiebreaker over both Fitz and Kelly, which I honestly, I think that would be devastating. I don't want to, I think if a team deserves to get in here, it's probably Kelly's team. She's put together a hell of a run here. She's on a 2-game losing streak, but she came back from, I think a 1 in what did she start?
She was 1 in 5.
Yeah,
so 1 in 4, and then went
she's
to 2
clawed her
and
way
5,
back,
and
she's clawed her way back, and it's been impressive to watch. My team's a fucking disaster, and Fitz's team is on a 3-game losing streak, and I think he himself would characterize his team as a disaster. But we'll see what happens. Let's look at the matchup.
Yeah, Kelly having the 4th most points scored on the season. She's just run into some tough matchups, having the most points against by a pretty large margin. If you take a look,
you're right.
1435, with the next highest being 1328.
Yeah, over 100
That's
points.
yeah, that's rough. That's that's gonna be it's gonna
I
be
mean,
very difficult to win. So
yeah, if you look at her her losses, she lost to the Staleys the only week that I put up 140 points. She put up 118 and lost. She lost to Ken, who also put up 140 points last week. She lost to the Barracudas when they put up 166 points. She lost to Thoughts and Prayers again when they put up 140 points. She actually, all of her losses, the team that she's been facing has scored over 120 points. In most cases, over 130 points. So where other teams have been able to squeak out some wins, and Kelly squeaked out a win or two. She beat Bill by 2 points, less than 2 points, and beat Josh by less than 4. But where other teams have been able to avoid some of this, Kelly's had some devastating losses.
yeah, you look there, starting 1-4, then going to 2-5, then 2-6, and then putting together a 3-game win streak there, and then just running into a couple buzzsaws there in week 11 and week 12. But let's take a look at this matchup real quick.
What do you think? Who's coming away? What are we going to see here?
Well, let's start on the Brendan El Bambolero side. Kelly's got a lot of question marks on her side right now, but I think Brendan has even more question marks with an underperforming Juju, an underperforming Kareem Hunt last couple weeks. Has not looked great, especially with the return of Nick Chubb, which is surprising. Miles Sanders, I do not understand what they're doing. If we click into his splits there, I don't know what Philly's doing. They
he gets 6
they don't give him the
carries.
ball. They just don't give him the ball that much, and it doesn't make any sense to me.
He's only got 1 game with 20 carries. He hasn't carried the ball more than 20 times. I mean, he's only got a few games with over 15. So I agree. Miles Sanders certainly not somebody you'd want to rely on. But I do think Fitz has a shot here. Galladay did not practice today, I believe, or he did not practice today. It would be nice for Fitz if Galladay could play, even against that Bears defense, which I have a little rant about the Bears in a second when we're closing this out. So I'll save that. But I think it'd be nice for him if Galladay could play. That would give him a boost. The Robbie Anderson on a bye, not great. That's going to hurt. But I think he's got a decent shot. That Seattle defense is garbage. There's real possibility for Darius Slayton to have a big day, no matter who's quarterback, because they're going to be throwing the ball.
I think outside of that, go ahead. What were you going to say about Juju?
Well, I was, Juju, I wouldn't trust either. But Cooper, I think, could have a decent day in Baltimore. We'll see.
Yep. I agree. What about just to round out his team real quick? If he does make the playoffs, his team will look dramatically different week 14 with Tom Brady coming back, Robbie Anderson, and then potentially the return of Christian McCaffrey. And if Christian McCaffrey returns and has the weeks that he's had, in the last 4 weeks, he's had 1 game, and he's the wide receiver. He was the running back. I think he's been the running back 30 something. Yeah. Even in just that 1 game, he's still the running back like 35 or something. In this last 4-game stretch. Now, if he comes back and puts up the numbers that we see here, Brendan's going to have a pretty good shot to make a deep run in the playoffs. Yeah, I mean, Tom Brady's schedule and CMC putting up the numbers that he has, certainly. So,
It'll all hinge on McCaffrey for Fitz. It all hinges on McCaffrey. But Kelly gets him at a good. Or Kelly's got her own guys out. Sorry, Evans is out this week. Ronald Jones, who somehow has been one of the better running backs in the league, is out this week. Julio was limited at practice today, but did practice. So I would expect to see him in her lineup. And maybe
I think Julio will play.
Yeah, and
he's had this weird schedule where does he practice on Wednesday, then sits on Thursday for some reason. So,
but I do think I'm going to give this nod to Kelly. I think she comes away. Actually, Deebo Samuel didn't practice today either.
I think he'll play too, though, and he looked very good. I think on Sunday. I really liked what I saw from him. And, they'll feed him. There's really nothing. There's no one else to throw to there, even if Ayuk comes back and, Jordan Reed and everyone else. But Deebo is just a player that seems to get that yards after catch number.
For sure. All right.
Adam Thielen, too. Adam Thielen should play as well,
definitely.
Right?
Yep. Definitely. All right. Well, let's leave it there. I think we're all looking forward to seeing what happens on this weekend with this matchup. It's going to be an exciting one. I know I'll be watching it, and we'll see what happens. Shorter show tonight. We'll wrap it up now. I got one quick thing about the Bears. So I'm done talking about the Bears in the group chat. I'm actually done talking about the Bears for the foreseeable future. And I might be done watching the Bears play this year. That was one of the most pathetic performances I've seen as a Bears fan. And on Monday night and on Sunday night, sorry. And until they fire Pace and Nagy, I think I might just be out on this team. It's disgraceful. And you could see it in Khalil Mack's face on Sunday night. He gave up at a certain point. Yeah. That defense gave up at a certain point. And I don't fucking blame them. Because
I wouldn't either,
what that organization has done to create that offense has been a fucking disgrace. And the fact that they were rolling out Trubisky in week 12 against the Packers, they deserve to lose these games.
And they're starting Trubisky again this week, even though Foles is healthy. And when Nagy was asked about it, he's like, I don't see why not. Let's start Mitch. Like it's embarrassing, and they should be ran out of town. And
it's terrible. It's really awful. So that's all I wanted to say. I'm just extremely over it, and having a hard time this year. But that's 2020 for you, right? The Bears start 5-1, and everybody knows they're a terrible fucking team the entire time.
And Matt Nagy refuses to understand that.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, let's leave it there. We get just a reminder. We are doing a live show next week. We will send out a email and a message in the group chat. We hope to see all of you on there at some point if you're up for it. But we're looking forward to it. We got some regular season awards we'll hand out. We'll do a little playoff preview. Looking forward to it.
Me too. Yeah, I hope everyone jumps on when they can, and
all right.
We'll remind you guys. So,
all right, you guys have a good week. Good luck this weekend to Fitz and to Kelly, and we'll see where we end up on Tuesday night of next week, because the NFL schedule is fucked.
Yep.
Good night, everybody.
Hey, we don't know. Maybe we'll be here Wednesday. You know, maybe
true.
we'll have some games on Wednesday.
Hey,
maybe a game on Thursday. You know,
who knows? It could
Back
be.
around.
Yeah, definitely. All right.
All right.
Good night, y'all.
Have a good night.
Take care.